April 3rd, 2020. It seems that the markets have kind of stabilized the last few days. No new huge coronavirus news. And basically, from what I'm seeing, almost everything that's driving the markets, precious metals, the whole world, the price of oil, is news on the coronavirus is driving everything. And then policies being made are driving everything. I filled up my Honda Civic for $18 yesterday. It wasn't empty, but I never thought I'd do that again. So they can change the world, the economies with these policies, obviously. And since 2008, I think the biggest force in the markets are command and control things like policies, government policies, lockdowns, things like that, central bank actions. But perhaps it was always like that, but it seems now more extreme, or it seems like they're doing it a lot more often. So my opinion on this coronavirus and how it's affecting the markets is I've got an article from NPR. And the reason why I'm quoting NPR is because that's more of a liberal but independent type of news source. And the fact that they're saying less fear of the virus and that they're a liberal source, I think is significant. This is called Why Germany's Coronavirus Death Rate is Far Lower Than Other Countries. And this is important because really, I think that this coronavirus is driving silver in all the markets right now. I mean, this is the primary news thing. So it says Germany's fatality rate, 0.5% of people who have the virus is the lowest in the world by a long shot. And they're saying, why is that? And it says here, because they're testing everybody. So if they test everybody and people who get it have, it's like that's 1 in 200 people who die who get it. Now, that in itself might not tell you much because if you're at a high risk and that goes up, it's scarier. But I think that the amount of fear that's being generated for when they're testing everybody and it's 1 in 200 deaths, I think that's a mass hysteria reaction compared to the reality. It is a harsh reality, and it's not happy or good. But when they test everybody and there's a very low fatality rate, that makes me less afraid. And where I am in Connecticut, you can go by town, and a lot of towns still have only one case in the town. And if you look at the towns who's being impacted, basically it's the towns that are going back and forth between New York City. But a lot of these small towns have almost no cases. So I don't feel a lot of fear. I know what's happening is they're highlighting the extreme cases where you have people dying horribly. They're showing the worst hospitals, the worst cases, and so forth. And I know the argument that this is going to overwhelm the medical system. It's, well, the current medical system, but they can adapt. They can do things. So that's a side point. The real point is that when they decide that things are okay, will these markets bounce back like a rubber ball and go whoosh again? Or is this a virus kind of showing the reality of our economy, how it's all propped up and phony? We'll find out. But basically, I'm seeing that the precious metals aren't doing too much until there's more coronavirus news. Thanks and be well.